to do something a little bit fun. I did not grow up celebrating Christmas. This is, I think, my 4th Christmas ever, and there's like a bunch of things that I have just not done. So things like gingerbread building, do people do that? I don't know. I also haven't like gone tobogganing. Is that a thing? I also haven't seen a lot of Christmas movies, like maybe 80% of them. My plan is to watch these Christmas movies and then tell you what they're about. Today I'm going to tell you the plot of Miracle on 34th Street. Did I do a lot of research on the movie? No. Now that I'm here, that's something to keep in mind for next time. So, Miracle on 34th Street, classic, I want to say 1950s movie, and I will do my makeup at the same time. I'm going to turn my little light on, so that's why the light is a little bit ghostly. So Miracle on 34th Street, it started off with this old dude who looks like Santa Claus, right? He's like, knock knock on a window, on a store window, and then the storekeeper is like, yo, what the fuck do you want? And then this dude, he's like, and then the shopkeeper's like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying, dude. So he comes out to the front, and then this guy, he looks like Santa Claus, is like, so excuse me, like, you got all your shit wrong in your store window, and it's not actually, like, accurate. Something about the reindeer not being completely accurate. Store innkeeper, he's like, I don't know what the fuck to say to you. This is gonna be an editing job, just to be like blowing my nose the entire time. Okay, hold on. That was the beginning. You never see the innkeeper at all. And so the old guy who's trying to get the facts straight is actually Santa Claus. I'm trying to remember because I did watch it 2 days ago, so I might have I apologize. I want to say it's Thanksgiving, and there's like this huge parade going on, and the lady in charge of a parade, she's like a single mom, I think. She has like a daughter. She's like really pragmatic, realistic. She's not going to tell her daughter like things that are not true because, you know, she's a woman and you get learned about the real world real quick when you're a woman. So she's in charge of, I guess, marketing. I'm not really clear on things that are happening in this movie, so if there's any redactions or edits, I'm gonna put it down in the screen. But I think she's like in charge of marketing, in charge of like employee relations. Anyway, she's like a higher up. The boss was like one of her coworkers, or her boss was like, good job on organizing this parade. And she's like, yo, thanks, I gotta get back to my daughter. So cut to her daughter watching the parade outside her window in New York, in I assume like a bougie apartment. And she's like watching it, and there's this middle-aged dude watching it with her, and turns out that there is this random dude is her neighbor, and the little girl just invited him to the apartment unsupervised. The dude was like, your mom doesn't tell you about Santa Claus, and then, I don't know, the little girl's like, no, Santa Claus is a myth. My mom doesn't believe in that shit, so I don't believe in that shit. And then the neighbor guy is like, feels bad for her. Okay, so the mom comes home from her job, and she's like, hey darling, and she looks at the neighbor, and she's like, who the fuck is this dude? And then the dude is like, hey, what up, I'm your neighbor, and your daughter was alone, so I just decided to keep her company. And the mom's like not happy with it, like I think most parents would, about their like 8-year-old daughter inviting random strangers into their household. I guess the backstory is that the lady husband died, and so she's alone trying to raise her daughter by herself. So that's, you know, mad props to a single mom, so that's cool. Neighbor homie is like, hey, I'm gonna bounce, see y'all later. And then the little girl's like, no, I want you to stay for dinner. You know, she wants to say no, but then the little girl is insistent that the neighbor guy stay for dinner. When the mom finally acquiesces, like, sure, you can stay for dinner. Like, the guy winks at the little girl because they fucking conspired together, and my thought is like, oh, this dude's a fuckboy. He's using an 8-year-old girl to get some booty. He wants to date the mom for no other reason than that she's single. That's my interpretation of it. Cut to fucking, well, actually, old guy, and he is Santa, like a Macy's, specifically Macy's, and it makes me wonder if Macy's paid for this movie, and it's just a big old ad for Macy's. You know, he's doing his thing, little kids are lined up telling him what they want for Christmas, and this little boy's like, I want this toy truck that sprays real water. The mom is motioning towards Santa Claus. She's just like, and then he's like, yeah, you'll get the toy for Christmas. And so when the little boy leaves, the mom, she's like, what the fuck did he say that for? I can't fucking find this toy. Now you're promising him to get this toy, but I don't know where to find it. And then Santa Claus is like, oh, we can get it at Gimbel's. She's just like, why the hell are you telling me to go to another store when you work at Macy's? So the lady, at first she's shocked, but then she's just like, oh shit, I can save a bunch of money. So she goes to a manager, presumably, and she's like, did you know that your employee is telling me to go to another store? The manager guy gets mad, and then I guess they go to Mr. Macy's. I didn't know that Macy's was an actual guy. So Macy's is a real dude. I mean, according to this movie. They go to Mr. Macy's office. At first I think they were in trouble. Oh wait, no wait, okay, go back. The mom, the OG mom, she tells Santa Claus to her office. So she calls him to the office, and then the little girl is there, and the little girl and Santa Claus get to talking, and then the mom comes in, and there's no one else in the room, and immediately she's suspicious, rightly so, and she's like telling her daughter to get out because she needs to talk to Santa, and someone needs to tell this little girl to stop hanging out with old suspicious dudes that she's never met before. And she finds out that this old dude thinks that he's Santa Claus. She's like, what's your name, homie? She's like, my name is Kris Kringle. She's like, no, your real name. And he's like, it's Kris Kringle. And she looks at his application, and his nearest relative, or her reindeer, he's crazy. You can easily have a name called Kris Kringle and no one should, because probably that exists, especially for parents who hate their children. She's like, you're crazy. He's like, I'm not crazy. I'm Santa Claus. And she's like, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. And he's basically goes to show how much you know. Long story short, she's like, I'm firing you because you're fucking batshit crazy. And get the fuck out of my office. So he gets the fuck out of her office, and then Mr. Macy calls this, I guess, the floor manager in, and the mom, and it's regarding Kris Kringle, whom we're going to refer to as Kris Kringle from now on. So Mr. Macy was like, your floor Santa told this lady to go somewhere else. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Lo siento. We didn't know any better. He's fired now. And then Mr. Macy is like, no, it's a good thing, and he's actually getting a I don't know if he got a promotion. I'm really making stuff up, but this movie also makes stuff up, so I feel completely justified in doing so. Mr. Macy was like, no, it's this homie G is getting a raise because he is actually looking out for the customer, and that's exactly what Macy's wants to do. You know, customers number one, blah blah blah. And the mom's like, oh shit, I fired him. He's on his way out. The manager's like, well, you better fucking get him. So she runs out, and Kris Kringle's indignant, and he's like outside walking away, and she's like, hey, I'm so sorry, homie. I have to stop calling people homie. I am so sorry, you know, for yelling at you, for thinking that you're crazy or something, and you actually have your job back, so come on back. Let's go lie to children. Okay, so Mr. Macy is like, we need to find a place for Kris Kringle to stay, and he also needs to get a psychiatric evaluation. So Kris Kringle gets a psychological evaluation. I really need to do my makeup while I'm doing this. Okay, I guess I can't do both. He gets like an evaluation, and the evaluator is basically like, bitch is like cuckoo crazy. He didn't say he shouldn't be around children, but I feel like that was implied. I guess Kris Kringle was hanging out with the mom, and he was in their apartment, and he saw the little girl again, and then he's like, you don't believe in me? Like he's Jesus or something. She's like, no, because my mom wants to teach me real world shit. He's like, well, what can I do? Like, what do you want? And I'll prove that I'm real by getting you this thing. And she's like, I want a house. This made me laugh so hard because this little girl is a hustler, and she's learned the value of getting what you want from sugar daddies. That is a good skill, a skill of negotiation. So she went real high. He didn't say no, and so she was driving home a hard bargain. And I was like, she's gonna be a CEO someday. And then Kris Kringle was like, I don't know if I can do that. She's like, well, if you can't get me this house, then you're just a silly old man with whiskers on. Man, I would not mess with that little girl. So he's staying with the neighbor guy, and so he's talking to the neighbor, and they're brushing their teeth in the same bathroom, and then the camera pans out, and the neighbor guy has 2 sets of twin beds in his bedroom. Like, he is always ready for a sleepover 24/7. Don't know what that's about, but, you know, I guess he's always prepared. They go to sleep, you know, in their separate twin beds. In, I want to say, matching pajamas? Oh, yeah, so while they're about to go to sleep, like the neighbor's a lawyer, and before they go to sleep, he asks Santa Claus, I have a burning question that everyone wonders about Santa Claus, and that intrigued me. I was like, what is that number one question about Santa Claus that everyone asks? And I was thinking, like, is he in a fat suit? How does he get so fat? Why are you here, maybe? And then the lawyer guy is like, oh, do you sleep with your whiskers over the blanket or in the blanket? If you're confused like me, through context, I gathered that whiskers is like an old-timey way of saying beard. No one said beard once. They always said whiskers. And when I think of whiskers, I think of like teeny tiny kitty cats. The answer was he always tucks in his blanket and then he puts his beard over the sheet. Was that supposed to be a joke? This is a little much. I don't remember the events that transpired, but Kris Kringle, he picks a fight with someone, and then he goes to jail. So he's in jail, but then he looks real comfy, and they're all wearing really nice pajamas, and I'm like, what is this, Prison Hilton? He's calling, you know, the lawyer. He's like, get me out of here. And so the little girl, she writes to him in jail. She's like, I believe in you. And because the mom feels bad for what's happening, she tells the little girl that she also believes that Kris Kringle is Santa. And it makes the little girl feel better. And at some point, Kris Kringle calls the little girl from jail, and she's like, hey, did you get me my house yet? And he's like, oh, I didn't have time because I've been in jail. And she's like, you are a piece of shit. She didn't say that. She was like, you can't get me this house. Do you remember what I said? If you can't get me this house, then you're just an old man wearing whiskers. Which is like 1950s speak for like, you're just a virgin who can't drive. His confidence stock took a plummet. He's still in jail, and he has to go to court, right? I think someone wanted him to plead insanity, but he's like, I'm not fucking insane, I'm a goddamn Santa Claus. And my understanding is that the case is for the fact that he assaulted someone, but the case devolved into him continually trying to prove to everyone that he is indeed Santa Claus. Oh, that's what happened. I remember why he went to jail. The little girl told Kris Kringle that she's going to a school function where they were going to have a mandatory thing that said that they're going to tell all the children that he isn't real. He got super pissed about it. He's like, I'm going to crash this motherfucking presentation even though I'm a grown-ass adult who does not have any children, and I'm gonna tell all you bitches what's what. So the dude during the presentation, he's actually the manager from Macy's. Do they have two jobs? Like, is he a manager of Macy's and he works at an elementary school? I don't think he even has kids. So why is he allowed to make a presentation at this little girl's school? He has this vendetta against Santa Claus, and then he got like, he was doing some damage with his words, but to be fair, his audience were a bunch of 8-year-olds. Santa Claus comes up behind Macy's manager and he starts railing on him. That's how he landed in jail. The lawyer neighbor guy, who's, as if you can remember, is trying to get into the mom's pants. He calls opposing counsel's also elementary graded son as a witness, unbeknownst to opposing counsel. You know, if I was a lawyer in the 1950s, I think I would be damn successful. Because you just make shit as you go along, apparently. The little boy testifies, and the lawyer neighbor was like, I just have one question for you. Do you believe in Santa Claus? And the little boy's like, yeah. Let me do my face makeup because the movie's basically over and I have not finished with my eyes. Hold on. Okay, so this is where we're at. This makeup's pretty bad, and you know, this is not how this ship is going down. The lady, she gets this bright idea, and the idea is to go to the postal service and get all of the letters that children have sent Kris Kringle, because all of those letters are addressed to Santa Claus, North Pole. And if he wasn't Santa Claus, then how did they know to send all of these kids' letters to Kris Kringle? I think I get that, but also, that's fucking dumb. He gets out, and I guess, I don't know if he disappears, because after he gets out of jail, that's kind of the last you see of him, but he, like, calls the little girl, and he goes, "I got this friend, and I want you to go to this address." The little girl takes the lawyer and her mom to, like, the suburbs, and the little girl sees something off yonder in the distance, and she's like, "Stop the car!" This presumptuous little girl, she, like, ducks and rolls out of lawyer man's car, and she goes into a house. She opens the door into this house. You know, someone could have been there. You know, you just don't go into people's houses. You gotta knock first. So this girl's got huge cojones, and it just happens to be empty. And then she's like, "This is the house. This is our house now, because I'm a little girl and I don't know what mortgages are yet." And the mom had, thankfully, she's like, "You can't just go into people's houses, dude." She does it anyways, because this girl don't give a fuck. She like a honey badger, so she just goes in the house and pees in it, and it's hers now. And the lawyer guy's like, "Hey, this house just happens to be for sale, and, you know, that's convenient because we technically broke into it. Hey, neighbor lady, you know, why don't we do this together?" Let's keep in mind, okay, I'm estimating from the time that she meets the lawyer guy, like, it's still well within the Christmas season. It's a 3-week time frame, and he's asking her to either marry or move in with him. My gut instincts for the mom is like, run, homie. First of all, he's not even a real lawyer, because it's this type of movie. She's like, "Hell yeah." So she's like, "Santa exists." And they're like, "Well, I guess he does, because he bought us a house." I don't even know. That's the movie. That's Miracle on 34th Street, according to someone who is confused all the time. There's just so many unanswered questions about the world that they live in. Is becoming a lawyer? I'm really stuck in this whole, like, courtroom scene, because I like courtroom dramas, and I think if I was a way more belligerent person, I would have liked to become like a civil rights or immigration lawyer. What is the moral of this story is that you should be lied to, because if you believe in a lie long enough, you'll get a house. It's a bad makeup look for a bad movie, so I'm sorry I assaulted you with so many poor choices in this video. So the next movie that I am going to watch it's Elf, okay? Don't come for me, because I've never watched it, but I know how beloved it is. I have the darkest circles too, so that ruins what's already been ruined. And it's also, like, really patchy. Wow, this is terrible. Oh well, I'm sick, I don't give a shit. I hope you're not too mad at me for ruining a Christmas classic, but, you know, I didn't make the movie. I will watch you later. No, I'll see you later. Okay, bye.